Hey, everybody. It's Tuesday Night Roundtable. Hello and welcome. Tonight, we're going to have a great discussion about winning with women, and we're going to talk a little bit about what we mean by that. Excited to be here. Few announcements up front, and then I'll introduce my guest speakers. So announcement number one, justify.org is going. We are on Facebook as a group. We have a company page out on LinkedIn. Our website is still a little under construction, so be patient. As you see, pages don't have a lot on them, but they're getting there, and I'm working on that. But our membership is getting stronger, and we do have a leadership team in place now for Justify, and I'm really excited about that. Our leadership team is going to be a group of us who are politically involved, activists, etc. And so we'll be having a planning meeting this week, and our first mission will be to get statewide involvement. So we will each be assigned a region of the state so that we can start to reach out to people. So please continue to follow Justify, and that's JUSTDEFY.org on Facebook, LinkedIn, or on the website. So really excited about that. As always, we have some great speakers on tonight. So if you have any questions or comments as we're going through this, please post them. I will share those with the team, and we'll make sure to get your questions answered. If we run out of time or something gets put in at the end, I will ask the ladies to address it later on in the feed following the broadcast. Last but not least, your call to action is to share this video everywhere. Once it's posted, please, and hashtag it so that we can get our message out there and start to engage people in conversation. So, my tag is always join the conversation, and we want to get as many people involved as possible. So without further ado, I'm going to address and introduce the two ladies who are with me tonight. Unfortunately, Pat was going to be joining us as well, but she had some technical difficulties that has actually prohibited her from being on tonight, but don't worry, I'll be bringing her back on another time to talk with everybody. So this evening we have Vanessa Warren-DeMott and Lynn Gerber, who are both running for representatives. And we are going to talk a little bit about winning with women, but the first thing I'm going to do is have each one of these ladies introduce themselves, tell you what they're running for. And when you do that, Vanessa and Lynn, if you could tell everybody a little bit about some of the political activism or community involvement, volunteerism, what your pet projects are, and then what drove you into really moving forward in politics. And I'll just start. Vanessa, you're nodding. I saw you nod, so I'm going to start with you, and then next time we go around, I'll start with Lynn.
All right. Well, Cynthia, thank you so much. Platforms like this are amazing for candidates to be able to reach out to people, and most of all to hear, because that's where good policy comes from, is conversation with everybody in the community. So my name is Vanessa DeMott. I'm a native to Jefferson County and a candidate for House District 29, which is all of Jefferson County, Westminster, and the northeast sliver of Arvada. So everything between Wadsworth and Sheridan, going all the way down to I-70. I'm native to this district. I grew up here. My heart is here. I also grew up with some adverse experiences. And so as I kind of share that part of my story, that really becomes my passion for why I'm running for House District here in HD 29. So between all of those experiences, growing up with abuse and ending up in a foster home, as a young adult, experiencing substance abuse and abusive relationships, becoming kind of a single mother, and depending on the system and different types of resources and WIC checks and going through all of that, to then finding kind of that independence and loving my life now and being able to work for my children and my community and stay involved. That led to wanting to serve places like the PTA. From there, we grew that passion through some community trauma, and was able to serve on places like Ralston House Child Advocacy Center, I got involved with our Citizen Police Academy. So getting to do like that 14-week training with the police and the fire to learn kind of firsthand what our first responders go through. And beyond that, working with organizations like CASA, all of these places that kind of encompass those passions I have, those experiences I had as a child. And while working on my degree towards social work, this is the State House is a great place to bring those policies to help people that I see kind of those gaps in the system. So that's where I've kind of landed. So I'm excited to be here. So thank you again.
Awesome. Wonderful. Lynn, tell us.
Vanessa. Thank you, Cynthia, for having me. Lynn Gerber, native also of Colorado. Go North Jeffco. I've always been in leadership roles that I'm passionate about. It's my heart. My heart, I was born to serve. God makes us all in different ways. And since I've been little, I've always had a heart to serve. But the one thing that motivated me and really got me off the bench, so to speak, was working.
Oh, we got a little bit of a delay. We lost. There you go.
Oh, gee. Okay. Well, let's go back. So,
you said you've been in leadership.
Yeah. What got me off the bench and really got me involved in working at the state capitol was animal welfare legislation. I formed a group called TABTO, TABTO.org. It originally started out as a 501c3. I became a registered lobbyist, and as a private citizen, I was involved in a very simple piece of common sense legislation at the Capitol to protect companion animals. I was shocked at the dysfunction. It should have been something as simple as our pets. I was approached and met with the dysfunction of our state capitol. It seems that when people come into office, they lose their common sense, and the common sense disappears from, passing initiatives and really having a heart to serve and understand legislation. So I, as a child, was adopted and raised in a home of educators. I struggled in education, I must say, in Boulder County school districts. And through a lot of adversity, I ended up in a vocational technical program. And it truly saved my life. It gave me an opportunity to use my ability to work and communicate with people to get a school credit and receive a diploma. I think most importantly, what we need in our state currently is to understand kids. It's a great opportunity for change in education. Not all kids should be made to feel that they have to go to college. And so I believe that saved my life.
Yeah. I think Lynn's just having a little bit of a delay again, but if you can hear me, Lynn, I agree with you. As a college instructor for 10 years, I used to preach that, even as a college instructor, that not every young person has to go to college. And we are doing people a disservice by making that the message. For sure.
Right. At least let them figure out what they want to do first. And instead of going and spending all of these months and in most cases, what I hear, wasting a couple grand at least. So.
Yeah. Awesome. So these things just really drove you to move forward. And tell everybody what House district you're running in again.
Yeah, I'm running for state senate.
I'm in Senate. I'm sorry, Senate district.
I'm in Senate District 19, which is North Jeffco, 120th, down to I-70, and then Sheridan over to Indiana. So mostly Vanessa's district, Vicky's district. So I'm running with my dear friends, Vicky and Vanessa, 27 and 29, and then I'm SD, which they make up SD 19. And
I apologize for saying that. I don't know why I had House district in my head, but
So something that we're all running, right?
Yeah.
Boy, either way, we need to get in there and start some, servant leadership and represent the folks. I think that, you said people lose common sense. I think one thing they lose is the sense of servant leadership, is that they are there to serve and represent people. So, it's important for us to do that. And I'm glad to hear both of you are keeping that in the forefront of what you're doing. So, well, tonight we're talking
As
about
are you. Thank you, Cynthia.
Oh, yes, you're welcome. This year has just been a whirlwind for me. And although my campaign didn't turn out the way that I had hoped, I have made the drastic realization that I can still affect a lot of change and have a huge impact on things. And I'm just going to keep moving forward with that. And I know that although one door has closed, God will open another for me. And when it's right for me to do that, I'll do it again. So in the meanwhile, my goal is to support folks like yourself who are out there still running races. We have a big year ahead of us, and we really have a lot riding on this election. So we've got to get there. So winning with women, this was a theme I saw on one of you guys's event flyers. And so I'm going to switch over. Lynn, I see you jumped on over here. So
what's happening here? Sorry.
That's okay. We lost you on one, but we'll get you on the other. There we go. I think we've got you going. So, what was I going to say? Oh, I took that from you guys. That was actually your theme. And I thought about that a little bit, right? And so the winning with women really is, and I think your theme was women politicians, women candidates, female candidates, and how to win and how they're coming aboard and winning. But, when I started thinking about that, I started really thinking about kind of the play on those words. And are we winning with women candidates? Or with women voters, excuse me, in particular, our female candidates. So it's kind of, are we winning by having women run, or are we winning with the women who are voting, and or both, one or the other? So, the first question is, do you guys feel like, and as I was preparing for tonight, I did a little bit of research, to see, are we winning the female Republican vote as female candidates? And, I was surprised to see what I found. But that would be the first question I'd like to throw out there to you guys tonight. What do you think, or how do you think we're doing with women voters? How do you feel like we're winning with the women out there? Lynn, I'll ask you to go first on that one.
Well, I wish I had a crystal ball to tell you that. I think from my perspective, let's talk about our winning team that we have in SD19, and let's talk a little bit about what's happening with women in Senate District 19, with Vanessa's race, Vicky's race, and my race. I think being out in the community and knocking on doors is the best, most effective way to hear a heartbeat from women, from men, and from our community. And I will tell you, as a woman, many of the women that I talk to at the door, education is the number one issue that they're talking about. I think the men are concerned about education, but more so education from women and mothers. Women are concerned about school. Is school reopening? When's school reopening? What are they going to do? Where are they going to put their kids? Are they going to homeschool their kids? Are they going to be returning to work? What are they going to do with their animals? It's crazy. I talked with a social worker. She was pretty much muzzled from talking about things that are happening in social services and education. So
we got a little delay again.
Back again. I'm not sure what's happening here. Um,
I think maybe your computer's just having a little delay catching up, but you were saying you spoke to a social worker.
yeah, I spoke with a social worker, and I spoken with many women, and our freedoms and women are concerned. So I think in our community, we are winning with women. We had a great turnout. We had an event. We had over 112 people. We raised $7,000, and we had a lot of women, and we have a lot of women out walking for us. So I think in our race, we are winning with women.
Good. Wonderful. Vanessa, what's your take on that?
So I think that the reason why we are, just as Lynn said, why we are winning with women now is because we've created a message, and we're able to get that message because we've been out there talking. And this was long before we chose to be candidates. This was because we're part of the communities that we live in, because we know what is on the hearts of minds of these women. But to kind of answer that question and back up a little bit, I think the reason why you see women like Lynn and I, strong women like Vicki, strong women all over Colorado that are stepping up is because we weren't winning for so long, because we got tired of seeing the same old network go on for so long with little success and not speaking to those true values and principles that we as women, we as consumers, we as mothers, we as voters and educators that we truly hold. So this is so exciting to be a part of this team. And I tell my friends and family as they ask, that must be a hard campaign to have there in Colorado as a Republican. And I say, no, this is exciting because I can really speak to this message of what our platform is as Republicans, as conservatives, but what those values are to me as a woman, and really connect with so many of truly of what those families, whatever that family unit is. So yeah, I do think that we will be winning with those women voters this year.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a turnaround. Lynn, Vanessa and I cheated a little bit. We actually happened to run into each other last night at an event, and we talked a little bit about this, and I guess I wanted to say, and just ask you here, would you be surprised if there were information out there saying that female Republican voters don't always see or view women as, well, I don't know how to explain it. They don't necessarily vote for female candidates the way we might expect them to, based on that connection, and that in some ways they may still see politics as a man's world where they maybe view women's role in politics differently. And so, what would you say to that, or would that be surprising to you, or just kind of curious as your take on that? And either one of you just jump in if you have something on that.
No, I'd love to jump in on that. I think I don't know that from my perspective it really is about women. I think the Democrat strategy, being raised in Boulder, Colorado as a Democrat in the JFK generation for 36 years of my life, I think the Democrats are very strategic in separating, dividing groups within women. I think women are pitted against one another. I think the party, the Democratic Party, is very convincing and separates women, making them feel that if they are not voting as a Democrat, then they are betraying the womanhood. I think they're strategic. I think it's a lie. And I think through my life experiences in growing up in business, moving out of the house at 17, coming through foster care, living through a lot of adversity, having 5 children, having 11 foster kids, I think at some point in life you realize that there are lies are out there. And to survive in society, you have to figure out what those lies are. And I think it is a lie that the Democratic Party has perpetuated. I don't think it's a gender issue. I think it's a, so personally, I think that we need to be more vocal. And I'm seeing women, I have a friend that is in Boulder, many friends that are coming over to our party. I see the Republican Party growing.
I lost Lynn again for a a second, but she'll be back with us. I know this is just maybe her computer buffering. We'll give her just a second here.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, she has such a great perspective, being from Boulder County, and definitely hits it on the head to say it shouldn't be a gender issue.
Okay.
There you are.
There I am.
There you are.
Yeah, I mean, the computer just may be lagging a little bit, but we while we were kind of waiting for you to come back in, Lynn, we were saying we think your perspective is great. I totally agree with you. I don't think this is necessarily a gender issue so much as it is a manipulation that has occurred by the Democratic Party for so many years. And you're right. They have convinced women that if they don't vote Democratic, that they are betraying other women. Exactly. And we even talked a little bit about this last night, that the indoctrination that's gone along with issues like abortion and stuff, that they have literally been able to brainwash women for years, even women who would never consider abortion for themselves or think that it's morally, wrong to support the notion that they have to support abortion, because if they don't, they're betraying other women and they're going to lose all of their civil rights as women. So they're super convincing at manipulating people, and particularly women, into fighting for things they don't even necessarily believe in, and pitting each other against one another. And again, like you said, the lie that if you don't vote Democrat, you're anti-woman.
That's that is something we believe. So I use this example all the time. Up until probably 10, 12 years ago, I was a registered Democrat. I left home very early, just like my friend Lynn, and had to really be independent, had to find out life for myself. And that was okay until I became pregnant with my first child, and in a relationship and in a place that I didn't have all those resources. And so, again, knowing my values, knowing my principle, and I wanted this family, I wanted this baby. And I always say she saved my life. She's probably the reason I got out of substance use. But then I found myself in a need of resources, and I found myself needing those WIC checks and needing all of this help, needing Medicaid to get through. But then when I tried to get that independence, and I, said, I don't need these checks anymore. I think I'm doing okay. Well, it's okay. Just come on in and get them. But I don't need them. I feel like I'm in a good place. And they said, well, we're not going to ask you your income. Just come back and get them. It's, a system that's designed to keep you wanting and keep you dependent on it. So it was those kind of awakening moments that kind of looked at those policies to say, is this truly a policy? Are these truly the candidates that are helping me and my kids? I'm a mother of 4 now. I can see very clearly as I am raising kids to become independent, just like Lynn, you have grown kids, and you really see how, through those younger eyes of, have I done everything I can to instill what I now learned as my principles into my kid, and so she's a hard worker and 18 and is ready to move out. You could ask me if I think she's ready to move out. Probably not, but it takes a lot to see that independence in not just our young women, but the choices we as women are faced in order to bring families into this world. I think that can't be overlooked. So Cynthia, as we talked last night, it's so much deeper than abortion. It's, why does a woman feel like this is her only option? What resources does she not have? Where is she not being connected to a community that she feels that's her only choice? Because we would love to, make sure that if somebody wants to be a mother, if a family is ready to be a family, that they have those options, and it goes way beyond just the politics of it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to ask each of you, and Lynn, since we're kind of been going round circle, I'll just come back to you again. Can you talk a little bit about what it is specifically that you're doing throughout your campaign, or that you would like to continue to do once you've been elected into the Senate, to continue to address some of these issues for women? And that may be as simple as you're listening, but just, what you're hearing and what it is that's going to, you're going to do specifically with regard to that?
Well, I'm running obviously because I'm compassionate about expanding education and choice. I'm running because I love my neighborhood and my community. I believe I was called to make a difference. I believe I'm prepared for a time like this. 62 years old, lived a lot of life. I've worked at the Capitol. I have a lot of experience. I know a lot of the people there. I am for the people. And these are, I think that anybody are issues that we can all get behind regardless of gender. You know, contrary to, I think, what the media tells us, I think that we have a great show of females right now. And I'm so excited about the three of us uniting our party and coming together. We've had a lot of buzz. We bumped through a lot of bumpy roads. We've had a lot of fun. We probably have had some tears along the way. But when you look at our race, I think it's representative of bright, strong, capable women. And I think that we're going to win over a lot of independents that we're talking to for voters. I think we are involving and energizing women and individuals, no matter crossing party lines, and waking up a community. So I'm really jazzed. I'm excited about what's happening. And we're going to continue walking as women united and in a community to win back our Senate District 19.
So Vanessa, same question basically. Can you talk a little bit about once you're elected to the House, what you how you want this to translate over, or what you're doing during your campaigning? I know that the three of you guys are working a lot together, but of course each one of you has to run your own campaign and have some of the things you're doing that you think are specifically addressed to our female voters. And, you know, I'll just kind of add, since Lynn brought this up, and I think this is so important, Lynn, and I'm glad you said it, our unaffiliated voters, you know, I do think that we have a lot of women who, if they felt like there was a road to inclusion in the Republican Party, we would be winning them even more out of that group of unaffiliates.
Yeah. Well, so you're absolutely right. Lynn and I knew from the very beginning that we're in a district that's heavily moderate. We knew this wasn't just, you know, get all your Republican voters and hang on to all of those core Republican principles and you've got it. There's a reason why this is purple. This is a very moderate district. It does take being able to have your principles, but yet find those issues and find a place where it affects women, it affects families, and who better than people from your community, from working families. So, you know, you ask issues that are important. From day one, I've always said mental health. Mental health and its overlap with education, mental health and its overlap now with law enforcement. These are issues that cannot be understated. And I speak from a perspective of a parent with a child with a diagnosis, and what that looks like in education, time lost in school, what that looks like when the school cannot handle it and they call in law enforcement and my child ends up in handcuffs, what it looks like when I'm still paying off hospital bills 2 years later. So there's a lot of places where I want to see policy just like that work better for the people. I also want to work with amazing senators like Lynn Gerber on Senate Bill 217, because law enforcement and their hands being tied, their hearts are there, but their hands are tied. And our law enforcement got hit hard with that piece of legislation. And I think there's a lot of work that can be done. And I think women, men, all of our voters, all of our residents need to know how that affects them. Law enforcement, or the lack of law enforcement in our community, our fundamental rights of life, liberty, and property here in the United States, they are meant to protect that for us. So that is a huge piece of our Constitution. That's a huge piece of our freedoms here in Colorado and in the United States. So I think being able to go down there and work across the aisle with everybody, be able to stay at that table till 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning in those conversations in committees, that's going to be the kind of work that's going to have to be done in these next couple of sessions. So voters need to be ready and look at those representatives and those Senate candidates that are willing to and can support them in those conversations.
Absolutely. So ladies, I'd like just for you to each give me, kind of your last, we've talked a lot about women voters tonight. And of course, this was our theme and topic, because I do like to take a topic and really look at that in depth, something that I think is important. Although I want to hear about your campaigns and candidacies, that, I also want to provide value to people that can start to think about politics in a greater sense, right? A lot this year, I've talked to people and they're like, "Oh, I don't get involved in politics. I don't like politics." Well, I'm really sorry, but if you live, if you just live, period, in this country, you're involved in politics, because politics affects our lives, each and every one of us. Yeah. And so I like sometimes for us to talk about these greater topics, because I feel like it's understanding truly how a senator or a House representative can impact the things that are important to us in our lives. I think people far too often see things disconnected in a way that they are not disconnected. They're actually connected, and people don't realize that. And so just kind of as a last bit here, just whatever last comments you have to talk about, how is it that whether it's women's issues or gender issues or school or whatever the things we've talked about tonight, how is it that what message would you like to give people to help them understand better exactly how a representative like yourselves, a senator like yourself, could help improve their life, or what impact you actually would have? So what message did you want to send them? And I don't care, Vanessa, you can go ahead and start. I've been having Lynn start.
That's a fantastic question. So here's my notes. I wrote it right here. It says all politics. Wait, there we go. All politics are local. So for anybody who says they don't get involved, I stress this. 10 years ago, I was not in that same place. I didn't own a home. I lived in unincorporated Adams County. I sought out a place, and then I realized just how much the water rates affect me, who I put on my city council, then those decisions that are made in the unincorporated parts of my community. All politics are local. So my message is, whoever your candidate is, find a candidate, get behind them, because things that you see that are happening in your life have this effect on you. And you can't sit back. You can't sit back and say that you didn't know, that you didn't have a choice, because you absolutely have a choice. Find those people who represent life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Find those candidates that represent freedom. I can guarantee you, if you're over here in Jefferson County, Vanessa DeMont and Lynn Gerber are those candidates over here. So.
Awesome. All right, Lynn, and what about you?
Well, Cynthia, I think, being out on the ground, being out in the community, I think finding common ground. And whether you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent, it really is educating people about the platforms. And as we all know, you cannot change kids, you cannot change people, but you can be a model and a witness. And I believe, just in working with my community, that people are recognizing, if you can talk to them about common sense things like a balance of power. Whether we have 19 Democrat senators and 16 Republicans. And whatever party is leading or in charge, you're not going to have a balance in power. So I think even if I can appeal to people in the respect that we need balance in government to have any kind of working together, reasoning and working together. You have to have a balance of power. So I think it's pretty common sense. We have to meet people with common sense ideas, common sense solutions. And I think people are going to see through the times that we're living in. People that have a heart to serve, that their background is reflective of who they are and their identity. I think people are looking into candidates. And I think being transparent, being honest, being authentic, what you see is what you get. And that's who you're going to get with me. I'm already working with stakeholders in my community. And I think the biggest thing that I'm hearing from my community as far as they feel talked to, I think we have to talk with, and we have to be a bridge between parties to unite and bring stakeholders together, because there's not a lot I can do as a state senator. And first of all, I have to win. And I do need everybody out there who sees me tonight. This Senate race is a race we absolutely have to win. 27, 26, our two House seats in 19 are imperative. We have to get out. We have to walk with these folks. We have to be, involved, or we will live with it.
Gosh dang it. I hate that we lost her again. I think her computer might be buffering or something's going on.
But the fact that she keeps coming back speaks to her personality. That is her perseverance and grit right there, folks.
Back in there. I know her computer just might take a second to catch up.
Yeah.
But I'm going to pick up where Lynn left off with that. And I am going to say something. So Lynn, we lost you right at the end, and you were really giving us heck, and I'm so glad you're saying that. And I'm going to pick up with that, because what I want to say, and what I've been continuing to say, and one of the things that, one of the reasons I started Justify and the things that I'm doing is that inaction is a choice. And when we make that our choice, people suffer the consequences of our choice. And so go to the Jefferson County GOP office out there. They have literature for all these candidates. They have people there that can connect you with the candidates. They can help you. Make phone calls, drop lint on people's doors. Give up that Starbucks from that terrible organization for $5 and send it to one of these, candidates instead. People will spend $5 for a terrible, horrible company like Starbucks for coffee that just has too much sugar in it anyway. Get rid of the $5, send it to one of these candidates. Oh, I'll probably be getting Starbucks.
I'm only laughing because my friend Ellen is on here. That was with me last night. And as soon as we left, we had to go get a Starbucks because that's just.
I'm sorry, Ellen. I mean, and here's the thing. I mean, right there on every corner. You're hard pressed not to find one of them. But the point, I guess, I'm trying to say is, it's no more than a cup of coffee for most people to send $5. And if everybody sends $5, because money is really the lifeblood of so many things, it's just so important. And so just do that. Get out and if you don't have a candidate that you can support right in your area, in your district, in your Senate district, in your whatever, go support somebody else. I mean, the state as a whole is affected by senators, representatives, all of these people, statewide positions like Board of Education. Everybody in the state's affected by that. So don't use the excuse of, well, I don't have a candidate in my area. Well, I don't want to hear that. Go out and support a candidate somewhere else, And if it's not about supporting a candidate, then get up and do something else, talk to people, push our values forward, help people find a voice somehow, somewhere. So, but anyway, I did have one person, couple people. I was just checking comments. I want to make sure if there were any questions out there. A few people, Teresa Henderson, thank you. She said, thank you all for representing. Yay, yay, yay. And Ellen Moroney. Hi, Ellen. She says she's a little late viewing, but she'll rewind. Yes, it's going to be out there everywhere for you to see. So check out these wonderful ladies. So Lynn, you kind of got cut off. Did you have any last, that you kind of in the mid sentence there? Did you want to finish that, or did you feel like you get a chance to really kind of tell us what you wanted to say?
No, I just really thank you. You have a great heart for service and what you're doing. I appreciate that. We need people like you. So I haven't been out talking a lot, and I sense I'll be out talking more. But I'd love to have walkers. So if you can recruit many walkers, the more the merrier. It's really actually a lot of fun.
Okay, that's perfect. That's what we want. So Lynn needs folks who can walk in her area and get out, whether it's handing out one of her brochures, stopping and talking to people about her campaign, or something as simple as saying, here's Lynn's material. If you have questions, I'll get you in touch with her, right? Getting information back and being out there. Vanessa, what's your need right now?
Oh, absolutely. So here's a fun one for this week. Please follow me if we're already on Facebook, DeMott for Colorado. I actually have an event this week. It's Wine with Vanessa. My wine is like just out of reach, but I even have my own label on this specialty wine. This is a local winery, a Colorado business. So I love being able to support business and do an event, but a way just to meet. You could come meet me, ask questions. I really just want to listen. I think Lynn has said it multiple times tonight. This is how we hear and get ideas for some of that best policy. So come out, meet me this week. It's Thursday night. It's at my friend Nancy McNally. She's our former mayor of Westminster. She's hosting it in her backyard. I think all of us candidates are trying to be as creative as possible right now with events, trying to keep ourselves out there and meet the community members. From there, just following and sharing that media, hosting signs, letting your neighbors know. I say be encouraged, because a lot of people feel just like we do here. We love our country. We love our city. We love our Jefferson County, Adams County, and we're proud to be here, and we're going to stay in this fight. We have the grit, and we're excited, and we're in this all the way to November, and honestly, and beyond, the 2 years, the 4 years, and the terms thereafter. So.
Yes, good. The beyond is important for us. And I keep having people say, "Oh, I'm so glad you didn't, disappear after your race." And I was like, right. Where would I go? I made a commitment to want to serve and better my community and do these things. So whatever our role is, we just have to get out there. So if you're sitting watching, or you're somebody who's not 100% sure about, well, what really can I do? Well, you just send me a private message. I'll tell you exactly what you can.
You got it.
In the meanwhile, I would like to say thank you to both of you for being on tonight. This obviously was live on Facebook tonight. It will be on my YouTube channel. It will be out on LinkedIn, and then Vanessa and Lynn will be sharing this everywhere as well. So both of these ladies have kind of expressed what it is they need. Lynn needs some walkers. Vanessa's having an event coming up that she needs people at. I've certainly encouraged you to get out there and do that. But of course, my last call to action for the night is to share this video everywhere that you can. And also jump out and look at justify.org, because a part of our mission will be continue support the people who are going to represent us in the way that we want representation. So thank you, ladies, so much. And I think we've got everybody's questions. So
that's just me on there, just talking away, doing multitasking.
Good. All right, guys. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Lynn.
Bye, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Guys.